What happens when millions of years of volcanic violence collide with the force of shifting tectonic plates? You don't get a postcard. You get cave systems so massive that entire rainforests grow inside them. You get volcanoes that have buried civilizations and rebuilt themselves from their own ash. And you get a predator that survived 5 mass extinction events and is still hunting today on islands you can actually fly to. Southeast Asia sits on one of the most geologically violent stretches of the planet, and that violence carved 5 national parks so extreme that parts of them are still being mapped for the first time. We're counting down from 5 to 1, and the park at number 1 is the one that completely changes how you should think about this region's future, not just its past. This isn't a list of pretty parks. It's a record of 5 places where the Earth fought itself and left the wreckage open for you to walk through. Southeast Asia sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, a roughly 40,000-kilometer arc responsible for the majority of the world's earthquakes and active volcanoes. The Eurasian, Indo-Australian, and Pacific plates grind against each other directly beneath this region. That pressure doesn't just destroy. Over millions of years, it raises mountains from the ocean floor, hollows out limestone hundreds of millions of years old into cave networks, and pushes volcanic islands above the surface that didn't exist in any meaningful geological timeframe. Each park on this list is a direct product of a specific event: an eruption, a collapse, a flood, a fault line. Knowing the event is what separates Pretty Lake from your standing inside a caldera that cooled the planet. Number 5, Babi National Park, Vietnam. Most visitors fly into Vietnam and head straight for Ha Long Bay. Fair enough, but they're skipping the place that does something Ha Long Bay can't. Babi National Park sits inside the limestone mountains of northern Vietnam and holds one of the largest natural freshwater lakes in Southeast Asia, stretching across roughly 8 kilometers of ancient karst terrain. The surrounding limestone dates to the Paleozoic era, older than the dinosaurs, and rainfall has spent hundreds of millions of years hollowing it into caves, grottos, and underground rivers that connect beneath the entire landscape. Doong Cave alone runs roughly 300 meters through the heart of a mountain and houses bat colonies that emerge at dusk in numbers dense enough to dim the fading light. What keeps Babi off most tourist itineraries is exactly what makes it worth the trip. Infrastructure is minimal, access takes intention, and the Tay ethnic minority communities who have lived alongside this ecosystem for centuries have preserved it in ways formal conservation rarely manages on its own. Babi isn't explosive. Its drama is the kind that builds as you realize how much has survived here, almost completely intact, while the rest of the world wasn't paying attention. Number 4, Mount Rinjani National Park, Indonesia. In 1257, a volcano on the island of Lombok erupted with enough force to trigger a global volcanic winter and contribute to widespread famine across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. For centuries, no one knew the source. Researchers eventually traced it to Mount Samalas, the predecessor of what's now Mount Rinjani. The eruption was violent enough to blow off the upper section of the mountain entirely, leaving a caldera that filled with rainwater and became one of the most striking lakes in the region. That lake, Segara Anak, sits at roughly 2,000 meters above sea level. Rising from its center is Gunung Baru, a new volcanic cone that formed after the 1257 eruption and has continued growing. It last erupted in 2016. This isn't a dormant landscape. It's an active one. Rinjani itself reaches 3,726 meters, making it Indonesia's second highest volcano. The summit trek is a genuine 2 to 3 day physical undertaking, moving from dense rainforest through volcanic rock to exposed, freezing ridgelines where altitude sickness is a real risk. Evacuations happen every year for underprepared trekkers. For those who finish it, the crater rim sunrise is consistently described as disorienting. Standing above the clouds, looking down into a volcanic system that once altered global climate, and realizing it's still actively building beneath your feet. Number 3, Khao Sok National Park, Thailand. Most people assume the Amazon is the oldest rainforest on Earth. It isn't even close to the oldest in this video. Khao Sok National Park in southern Thailand contains rainforest widely cited as among the oldest continuous ecosystems on the planet. Older than the Amazon by a wide margin, with limestone formations in the park dating back tens of millions of years to a time when this terrain sat at the bottom of a prehistoric ocean. The park spans 739 square kilometers of dense terrain, with limestone karst towers rising vertically from the jungle floor, some over 960 meters. Their surfaces draped in vegetation that's had an enormous head start to establish itself. These towers were once coral reefs. Tectonic movement pushed them skyward over millions of years, and the rainforest simply took over the seabed turned mountain. At the park center sits Chio Land Lake, a 165 square kilometer reservoir created in 1982 when the Ratchaprapha Dam was built. The flooding submerged an entire forest valley, leaving the tips of limestone towers breaking the water's surface like the spines of something enormous sleeping just beneath it. Khao Sok is also home to Rafflesia, the largest individual flower on Earth, a parasitic plant with no leaves, no stems, and no chlorophyll, which only becomes visible when it blooms into a flower up to a meter wide that smells deliberately like rotting flesh to attract the insects that pollinate it. A rainforest that predates the dinosaurs, growing a flower designed to smell like death. That's the entry. Number 2, Phong Nha Bang National Park, Vietnam. In 1991, a local farmer named H183 Khan stumbled across a cave entrance in the jungle of central Vietnam while sheltering from a storm, and then lost track of it for years in terrain with no trail markers. In 2009, he led a British caving team back to it. What they surveyed became Son Doong, the largest cave passage ever measured on Earth, sitting inside Phong Nha Bang National Park, unknown to science for an estimated 250 million years, until that expedition confirmed it. Son Doong doesn't just break records, it breaks your sense of scale. The main passage runs over 9 kilometers and reaches heights of roughly 200 meters, tall enough to fit a 40-story building with room to spare. In sections where the ceiling collapsed millions of years ago, sunlight reaches deep underground and has triggered entire jungle ecosystems growing inside the cave itself. There are clouds inside Son Doong. A fast-flowing river runs through its base. Cave pearls, mineral formations built up over millions of years, line parts of the floor, some standing 3 meters tall. The park itself sits atop one of the oldest karst mountain systems in Asia, with limestone dating back roughly 400 million years, and contains over 300 caves and grottos, most still unexplored. Paradise Cave, one of the more accessible systems, stretches roughly 31 kilometers underground with cathedral-scale chambers and stalactite formations dense enough to look intentionally sculpted. Phong Nha Cave itself has evidence of human use dating to the 9th century, when Kham people carved inscriptions into its walls that remain visible today. What makes this park genuinely unsettling in the best way, is the gap between what's been mapped and what almost certainly hasn't. Survey teams have not come close to fully charting the cave network beneath the park. Each expedition still returns with new chambers and formations that don't match existing classification. The Earth is still giving this place up on its own schedule. Sun Doong access is capped at roughly 1,000 visitors a year, and a guided expedition runs upward of $3,000 USD. Number 1. Komodo National Park, Indonesia. Almost everything you've been told about this park's signature predator is outdated. Komodo dragons didn't evolve in Indonesia. Fossil and genetic evidence points to an Australian origin, with the species migrating northwest as tectonic shifts and changing sea levels reshaped the region over millions of years. The islands of Komodo, Rinca, Flores, and Gili Mateng aren't where this animal was made. They're the last refuge of a range that once spanned an entire continent. The dragons are also more sophisticated than the ancient relic framing suggests. For decades, scientists credited their kill rate to bacterial infection, bite now, wait for sepsis later. That theory was overturned in 2009, when research confirmed Komodo dragons have functional venom glands producing anticoagulant compounds that stop prey's blood from clotting. They're not waiting on bacteria. They're venomous, and that correction took years to fully replace the old textbook story. There's more. Female Komodo dragons are capable of parthenogenesis, producing viable offspring without a male, confirmed in captive females with zero contact with males. The species can, if it has to, restart a population from a single surviving individual. Now the part that reframes the entire park. Komodo National Park is shrinking, not figuratively. Independent sea level rise projections indicate that low-lying areas of Komodo and Rinca could face significant submersion risk by mid-century. Indonesia did temporarily close Komodo Island to tourists in 2019, though the stated trigger was a poaching and dragon smuggling crackdown, not climate policy. It's worth being precise here, since the closure reason and the longer-term climate threat are two separate, real issues, not one. The closure was reversed under economic pressure. The long-term sea level risk hasn't gone anywhere. The most dramatic national park in Southeast Asia, home to a venomous, parthenogenetic, intercontinental apex predator that outlasted the Ice Age, is, slowly and quietly, losing ground to the same ocean its ancestors once crossed. You can visit in the next few years. Nobody's asking loudly enough how many years that window actually has left. 5 parks, 5 geological crime scenes left by a planet that's never been gentle. Bobby's 200 million year silence, Rinjani's still growing volcano, Khao Sok's rainforest that predates the dinosaurs, Phong Enha's unmapped underworld, Komodo running out of time in plain sight. If any of these changed what's on your travel list, drop the one you're visiting first in the comments. Subscribe for more deep dives that go past the brochure version of these places. The next one will change how you see this entire region.